Firstly, there's no reviving without broadcasters. There's no reviving without broadcasters. We need to respect the broadcasters, and we need to make sure that we bring our part so that they can bring their part. But there's no reviving without broadcasters. What needs to be done is that we need to also up the product. When you're going to put on TV, you can't put a fighter on TV that is fighting for 1,000 rands, because that question will be asked. What was your purse money? So those are the questions journalists ask. You can't stop them. So imagine a person saying my purse money was 1,000 rand. This will be uproaring the country, and these things are happening. So we must also bring a better product so that the broadcasters can show a good product for boxing.
And how do you see this food chain then, Minister? Who works for you here, for who, when there's a promoter, there's a manager, and there's a boxer? Because from your talk, it looks like you've always put the interest of the boxers first.
There's no boxing without the boxers. We can go to any sport. Let's take F1. You think there's a sport without the drivers? There's no sport without the drivers. You can have soccer without the players. There's no sport. You have to look, the most important cog in this whole machine is the boxers. So once the boxer is not being looked after, the whole value chain is not working. So we got to look after the boxer. The boxer is the one that puts his body on the line. The boxer is the one that brings eyeballs. Nobody says, hey, I want to go and watch that promoter's promoting. They're mentioning the boxer. No, if I ask you now who was the promoter of Vuyani Bungu, Philip Bundo, Ata Maisela, you will not remember them. But you remember the boxer. So I'm going to stand up for the boxers first.
And it's the first time that we meet as the boxing community since 2013, when Fikile Mbalula was the sports minister at the time. And I think this has been very welcomed by the boxing community. But what also has been positive is the new board that's been appointed. In previous times, we've always had people say, we don't know who this is, we don't know who this is. But it's changed now, because people are saying, we don't want people to know what a jab is or what a hook is. We just want them to run the sport properly. Is that why you have faith in this board? Because of the different expertise that they are bringing in? What are those expertise?
Well, there's something called fiduciary duties. It is something that every board member must do, which is the right thing. Fiduciary duties is to make sure that you do the right thing. You don't need to have a boxer there or a person. They're not commentators. They are not referees. They are there to commercialize and to make sure that the right things happen in boxing. This new board, the board chair, Ayanda Kumalo, she's a lawyer at a big law firm. You have Sydney. Sydney is an accountant. He's got an accounting background. He's a businessman. You have Blennies. These are people that run companies, that understand that boxing must come out of the ICU. We don't want them to know what is a left hook. That is not their job. There are people that have that job. That's what you must know. When I listen on the radio, we are not listening to the board member. I'm listening to you. It was a left hook, it's a left hook, and a jab, uppercut. You must give us the right information. So the board that we have is a new board. They are not associated with certain factions within boxing, because boxing is like politics. It has too many factions.
The other big point of debate over the years has been whether the act is still relevant. You did address this in your remarks today, and there's been talk that maybe the act, because boxing falls under the Act of Parliament, it is preventing corporate from coming on board because they want to do their own thing and they don't want to fall under corporate. Where do you stand? Just clear that up for us. What are your views there, Minister? And how do we attract corporate to come back to boxing? Because back in the days, we had all these old buck jeans and King Kong and all these sponsors in the sport of boxing.
No, those ones are talking nonsense. The ones that say it's because it's an act of parliament. And sponsors don't have time. Sponsors want to show government what they are doing. Sponsors come to us. How did we get sponsors for Caspany? SASCOC is under government. Where will they want to be under? They are crazy. The sponsors come in where there's peace. How will you attract sponsors if you keep being in court like you are lawyers? Promoters Boxing officials are forever in court. I stand here being proud that for the first time, I stopped all court cases as the minister. We are out of court now. Nobody's in court in boxing. No one. Not a single person. Now I can go to the boxers to the sponsor, the corporate world and say, don't you want to commercially? There's something called ROI, return on investment. It is madness. You think a sponsor, if I go and look for a sponsor as a boxer, and I go there and said, will you sponsor me? The first question they ask me is, how many fights have you won? I'll say, I've had 35 fights, 35 losses. Who will sponsor me? People want a winning product. A winning product. The old Bagjan that you spoke about, those people, they were sponsoring the winners. That's why we knew about them. So I'm saying let's cultivate professionalism culture. Let's cultivate the culture of winning. And then we will attract the right sponsors.
You raised a very critical issue of South Africa not sending boxers to the Olympics now for the past few Olympic Games. It's not just the last ones, even Tokyo, we didn't have, even Rio, we didn't have boxing. I don't know if you've met with SANABO, who are the amateur organization responsible for this, even though the rules of the Olympics have changed now, there is open boxing that's allowed. How do we address this, Minister, to make sure there's a representation in 2028? Because when Fikile Mbalula was sports minister, he had given the SANABO 10 million rand, and it's still not accounted for. It was supposed to help get boxers to the next Olympics. How do we make sure now that we're not embarrassed in LA and we do send boxers? Because we've had the Filipinos there, we've had Hokma Kepula being a flag bearer, and I'm glad that you've highlighted it today because it's a big concern.
Fikile Mbalula has done so much in trying to fix boxing. He's given 10 million to SANABO. I'm coming to ask them what the 10 million is. Before I give them any cent, I'm coming to ask SANABO, what did you do? Come show me. What have you done with the 10 million that Minister Fikile Mbalula, then Minister Fikile Mbalula gave you? I am learning from where Mbalula stopped. I'm now taking from there. Oh, this was the mistake, this was the mistake. It is a crime that we are not a part of the Olympics. It is an indictment on all of us, all of us. But I can assure you, South Africa will send the biggest contingent of boxers to the next Olympics. That's what I can assure you.